My name's Kelly Fields. I'm from Willa Jean in New Orleans, and we're gonna make biscuits and gravy. So we're gonna start with our flour, add baking powder, baking soda, and salt. I enjoy working with my hands. That's why I do what I do. So now we have all our dry ingredients together. We're gonna take some butter that's nice and cold, and instead of cutting it up and trying to break it in, I'm gonna use a cheese grater. Biscuits for me is like a slow down. It's a selfish thing. It's probably the one time I most frequently get to cook at home, is making biscuits. So now we have all this cold grated butter in here, and we're just gonna help it out. This is ironically called the biscuit method. I'm just trying to get the butter to a point where all of the flour is exposed to it and introduced and they're friends before we add the buttermilk. The rise of the biscuit, which I think is another place of fear for most people, depends on this step. How cold the butter is, how well it's distributed without being broken up. And then we're gonna take the technique of one of my favorite things to do, laminated dough, and apply it to our biscuits. I've tried it with lard. Butter, to me, it tastes better. It's how my mom would do it. It's how my grandma would do it. I actually had a customer who was an avid hunter. When he had killed a bear, he would bring fat for us to make biscuits out of. And of course, you have to try that. It's not for me. I'm gonna make a well here so that when we add this buttermilk, we just have a place to put it. So I'm just gonna hydrate all of the ingredients. You're not looking to mix it. You just basically want to make sure that all of that flour gets a little buttermilk love.
Would you make biscuits for Beyonce?
I would make Beyonce anything she asks for. Do you think she eats biscuits? I think she could throw down with the chicken biscuit though. I think she'd make us all proud. So now we have everything mixed in. The buttermilk's there. We didn't stir it a lot. We're gonna flip this out on the table with a little flour, and we're gonna roll it out real nice and rectangular. Because that's how we do. And it's still gonna wanna fall apart on you, and that's perfectly okay. And normally at this point, I'll let it rest for about 15 minutes, and then we're gonna roll it out. And if you don't have a rolling pin, you're gonna use a wine bottle. It just means you've earned the right to drink it for breakfast. So I said earlier, we're gonna sort of employ one of the techniques for laminated doughs when you make croissants or you make Danish. The lamination occurs when you introduce butter to a dough and then fold it over and over on itself. You fold that over, you fold that over, and then you have a little book of biscuits. And you're just gonna roll it out again. I'm not looking to show this dough who's boss. I just wanna let it roll out on its own terms. I'm gonna stop here because the more you roll out dough, the tougher it gets. I'm gonna break all the rules of biscuit, and I'm gonna cut mine in squares. We don't even have to bake that biscuit to know that it's gonna be flaky. So you want equal space and equal temperature between anything you're baking ever. So then you put them in the oven, 365 degrees, for about 30 minutes. All right, y'all, we got our biscuits in the oven. We're gonna make some sausage gravy. You don't have to cook this all the way, you just wanna get it well on its way before we go on to the next step. I'm gonna take the sausage out. I'm not gonna scrape the bottom at all because I want all those bits and pieces. And then we're gonna add flour to the pan and get all these bits up. Pour a little bit of milk in. And then the onion thickener we use is flour. And just as it cooks and thickens, add milk, add flour. I'm also gonna add a little salt, pepper, red chili flake. Add a couple splashes of Tabasco. And at this point, I'm gonna add all of my sausage back. I'm just gonna add a little bit more milk. I'm gonna let that simmer. All the kinds of biscuits. You have angel biscuits, cat head biscuits, drop biscuits, beaten biscuits. Yeah, they're super doughy. Pick them up. Pretty hollow sounding. I'm gonna say those bad boys are done. From the book of biscuits, just break it in half. Just spoon in some sausage gravy right over the top. Y'all enjoy.